are in the game. We have some stuff that needs to go away and some things that needs to go up. There we go. That looks good. So we have, how do we toggle only minimap and get the APM tab up and the mineral income stuff? Anyhow, oh, I got no sound. Oh, there we go. Very little music sound. Let's get some music sound going. There we go. So in the top left corner, in the yellow pieces, we have FantasyGG, also known as Zelda. On Fighting Spirit in the top right corner, we have in the blue pieces, Dirtybag. He's currently, hang on, up 1-0. No. Dang, how did I do this again? Oh yeah. Oh, he's up 1-0. Oh wow, look at that. I'm so awesome. Just amazingly awesome. Dirtybag going for it quite early refinery as well. I can't talk. You know, this is a homage to Starbow. Look at that. That is a dead mule, I think, which is very fitting for a Starbow map. I'm not going to say anything else. It looks like a dead mule at least. We're going to have the early gas from Dirtybag. He's probably going to go for a quick factory like last game. It worked really well. Kind of a late expansion, but a very strong army. A lot of people logging on to Skype now. I'm going to try. Anyway, Fantasy in the meantime is going for a very similar opening. There's only really one thing you can do versus Terran in Starbow these days in the opening as Protoss, and that's just opening up with ranged Dragoons, pretty much. And take a couple of expansions. You take one expansion if Terran is one basing, and you take two expansions if Terran is expanding. Almost regardless of how late he's expanding, as long as he's not putting on too much pressure. Dragoons have a really good way of controlling the early game for Protoss, but you gotta be careful. One of the mistakes Dirtybag made last game, of course, was losing that huge group of Dragoons, but because he didn't pay attention to the siege tanks. It goes so fast. So we got the first Dragoon out. Got no range yet, but he doesn't really have money for it either. Yes, he does. And we just started researching it, making me look like a fool, protecting you from yourself. Awesome. Is that a pile of snow? I don't know how he made that. Oh, do I know how he made that? Because he made that big, but that's really weird. How did he? Sorry, I'm so much into mapping these days. We're gonna have a much earlier command center, but he's gonna go for a siege tank. Eventually, one gets the siege tank out first, and he can go for the tech later. And this marine is gonna die. Like, I predict the death of this marine right now. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Can he get up to safe high ground? Oh, it takes 10 damage? Oh, I can't see the damage types in. I thought it was only 5 damage versus marines. I know it's 20 damage as base. Oh, it's half damage versus light, yeah. And then 75% versus medium, and then 100 damage versus armored, like siege tanks. It's very interesting. The units in Starbow and in some ways Brood War that was supposed to counter another units actually do the least damage versus it. Like, Dragoons do most damage versus siege tank, and siege tank is the best counter to Dragoons. That's counterintuitive. It does the least damage to marines, but the Dragoon is a counter to marines, right? In the same way, Dragoons do less damage to vultures than they do to tanks, but they're still the counter to vultures, just because, not because of the damage they do, but, you know, the mobility and how they behave. And of course, how much damage the siege tank actually does back to the Dragoon, which is incredible amount. It's the same way with Corsairs. Corsairs actually do very little damage to Mutalisks, and they do a lot of damage to more bulky units like Overlords and Carriers and stuff. But since they shoot the way they do with splash damage, they are still the best counter to Mutalisks. So that's a very interesting fact. It's kind of hard to get your head around how that works, and it's a little more subtle and complicated in Starbow and Brood War than it was than it is in StarCraft 2, where you have like the Immortal just dealing a ridiculous amount of damage to armored units, being a very direct counter. Ooh, that's very dangerous. Oh wow, he's losing so many Dragoons. He's gonna lose this one. Yes. Oh, my predictions are he should not be so close. He doesn't need to lose Dragoons. He doesn't need to try and pick off anything. He just needs to be there and be like his presence need to be there. So like this happens. So Dirtybag feels like he needs to defend. Doesn't need to actually defend. And here we have the cleaning bot. I think that's the guy from Wall-E. No, it's not. It just looks like the guy from Wall-E. Little cleaning bot. If you've seen that movie. Anyway, quick. What's that again? Oh wow, he's already researching the free scan sweeps, so he can use his energy on cooldown SCVs. Very interesting. This upgrade does it so scan sweep is only cooldown based and not energy based. But I think the cooldown is slightly longer. But now he's scanning and he's using no energy, so he can cool down more SCVs. Very interesting. I think there's a 60-second cooldown, but you don't really need to scan that much. Oh, this one is already up. Yeah, 60-second. But like 12 of those seconds you're actually scanning, so it's only about like 48 seconds of cooldown. It's like, ooh, stop that, stop it, just stay there, stay. Good fantasy. In the meantime, it's only taking one expansion. I would have loved to see him to take this. There's nothing Dirtybag can do to stop that, but I guess he was a little bit scared of that after last game. Let me just check out a couple of things real quick. Oh, it was flat damage for Corsairs? Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they did explosive damage in because I know December's Calm has been very meticulous about getting all the damage types correctly into Starbow. But maybe I'm wrong. I didn't know Brood War that well. We're gonna have speed for War Prisms, no damage for Reavers yet. It doesn't really matter with the damage for Reaver in the early game, because you mostly get it to pick off workers anyway. Oh, that scan. Oh, that embarrassing scan. He knows exactly what's coming. Yes, you want to line up the siege tanks so they can protect each other. He should do like have one here and one here, so they protect the minerals and each other. So if you drop on one, the other ones will shoot. But this one is good to have it close to the missile turret, because even if you can drop the Reaver there, he might lose the War Prism. And he's got 3 Goliaths on the way, so he should be just fine. I think Fantasy saw that it was scanned, so he should be super careful with it, because he should know that Dirtybag is waiting for him, and he... Wow, Dirtybag is preparing really well. The only weak point is here, but it's not really a weak point because they can really protect each other. He's just heading back home. He hasn't seen anything, and he's just assuming that this is not going to work, but he's getting another Reaver. He might just want to use them to just hold off the push for as long as possible. If you can get a couple of Reaver shots off... Ooh, Stalkers! He's transitioning to Stalkers. Very interesting. Stalkers are very quick. They can be a pain, especially versus very little damage, but they have 2 attacks, so that's 14 and not 7. And they shoot fairly quickly. And they do a lot of damage versus light. And Fantasy is lagging a little bit. There we go. I was afraid that was me for a second. Look how fast that Stalker is. All these units are fast. Dragoons are initially fast. Cells with legs are supposed to be as fast as Dragoons, I thought. 2 point... Not faster. These are ridiculously fast in Starbow. I think these are faster than they were in Brood War. I remember like Dragoons are faster than Zealots without speed, and I remember in Brood War when you had speed on Zealots, your army was about as fast, but that was quite a bit faster. And then the Stalker is super fast. Stalker is faster than Zealots with speed. This army is super mobile. No more Death Bull. Well, Death Bull I guess is quite mobile. Never mind that. Ooh, this is not good. No, you don't want to do that. But you want to... Oh, it's blinking in a Stalker. Is that for scouting purposes, I guess? Can't really pick off anything. If you had a group of Stalkers, you could have done a lot of damage there, actually. Using the War Prism to spot, I think that's very cute. Dirtybag is slowly going to push out. He's probably not going to try and go for a full-fledged attack. He's just probably going to secure this base. Like, get a couple of here and then get some up here. It's going to be my guess. I'm trying to run around with Vultures. Oh, and he just saw this base, but oh, nice rift there. These Dragoons will be ready, and it's getting some photon cannons up. He saw that he rifted with a scan, so he's going to this base instead. They're the only Zealots there. You can be able to kite some of those and kill them, potentially. Okay, he's gonna not get any mine hits off. The mines do go off faster now than they used to do. They have been patched. There we go, mine. Oh, wow. Killing a poor guy from... Oh, he went away. But yeah, there's not that much these Vultures can do anymore, especially with these Dragoons over here. I love that preemptive rift. That was pimp. Fantasy is so good at playing this game. He knows what to do in Starbow. They both are very potent Starbow players, but Fantasy is falling behind. quite low on supply. Dirtybag, on the other hand, has not been expanding it. Is there? There we go. There's a command center coming up. I'm so bad at hitting the production tab. I just look around on the map instead. Here comes the push. I'm very happy to see Fantasy meeting the push, forcing some sieges, making sure it takes some more time. Got a couple of servers over the army. Dirtybag should really scan a couple more times. He has the free scan now, but it's probably on a cooldown. And I really like how he's pushing and then expanding behind it. Make base and defense it. I expand when I attack now. Oh, overkill on that SCV. Oh wow, he's actually going to get a couple of shots off before they... Ooh, but he doesn't want to lose them. He loses a Reaver. That's really bad. And he's going to lose a couple of Dragoons as well. Picking off the hurt Dragoons. Dirtybag's micro is really good. He's seen the whole army with observers. He knows exactly what he has to deal with. It doesn't really help much because it's a big army, but he's getting a flank going. I like that. But there's some nice spread out tanks. I know in StarCraft 2 this is horrible formation, but in Starbow it's an important formation because tanks can overkill, which means that if you have all in one big clump, they're all going to shoot at the same target and you have very little effectiveness out of the tanks, but this is very effective. You also want to have the mines way in front of them because the mine drags here are pretty long. Is that that's a Dragoon, and you want to have 2 Zealots and a Reaver, not a Dragoon and a Reaver. And you want to make sure you don't lose the War Prison. That range is incredible. Fantasy is really backed against the wall here. He's going to have a really hard time holding this push. He's going to go for it. Oh, he's going for it. Ugh, I can't follow. Okay, I'm going to follow over here. I can zoom out even, but oh, dropping the Reaver first. Ah, that's so bad. You want to drop the Dragoon first so he can take the shots, and then the Reaver can go in. Yeah, that was not very good for Fantasy. He's getting another expansion. He's finally getting these goons up that he rifted back, but they're just going to walk straight into a minefield, or at least straight into... Oh, wow, that's so lucky. You lucky, lucky Dragoons. That's incredibly lucky. Oh, okay, that's not so lucky, but wow. He had doomed them for sure. Okay, Zealots first, then Dragoons. Go, 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 go. This is... You got to do it now. I totally agree with Fantasy doing this, even though it's not going to win him the game, but... This is the best engagement he could have taken at this position. Like anything else would have just been pushing it further down. He's actually rallying more and more Zealots in. So even though he's not going to kill this push, he's going to weaken it considerably. But he's going to get a ton of Vultures in his base. Going to be detrimental for his economy, but Dirtybag isn't really controlling them that much. Probably macroing a lot behind this. And yeah, I don't see any way for Fantasy to come back from this. It's pretty sad because Fantasy really has the infrastructure to... He has the economy to do well. He just doesn't have the army right now. If Dirtybag would just let Fantasy be alone for like 5 minutes, he could like get up into macro. He doesn't even siege up the tanks. He doesn't need to. So these Zealot drops aren't going to do much anyway. Natural dies in a spectacular fashion. And there we have it. And of course the game is pretty much over now, but it's Fantasy, so he's going to sit here for a little bit longer. Sorry for the anticlimax. I'm a very realistic caster. I'm not going to try and like drag the game out and say that Fantasy, oh, can he come back? Maybe he can do it. When he can't, he just seriously cannot come back from this. So this is it, folks. He's going to get some units down here as well. There's very little to defend here. There's actually nothing to defend here. There's some defenses here. You could chrono boost these cannons, but I think all this chrono boost right now is being used on producing units. Yes, and he's just... Has he ever won a game this way? I'm just curious if there's some compulsory behavior here, or if it's that he has some slight hope because once he held on and he actually ended up winning, and he thinks that might happen again. I don't know. But yeah, this game is over pretty much. These Vultures won't do too much here, I think, but they're definitely going to kill this base easily. And siege tanks will do a big number on this base as well. Yeah. Man, Dirtybag is maxing out on 3 bases in the meantime, getting a lot of upgrades and stuff. Not a whole lot more to say. Thank you all viewers for watching this. I'll be casting this. I'll be continuing to cast this. I just want to say right now as well that most of you probably know, but March the 1st, we're going to have a Starbow Invitational Tournament. So far we have 3 players invited and have accepted their invites, and that is Beastie Cutie, TT1, and Sasquatch. So we're really happy about that. We have invited some more players, but we haven't heard anything from them yet. And there we have the GG. And the prize pool so far is $250. It was $100 yesterday, but we got $150 more for donations. So that's really